Hello, and welcome to this tutorial. It's been a while since the last time. It's been 7 months. I've been very busy with my work and with other projects, but we're back again. We're ready to launch a new tutorial, and that is going to be about how to make PlayStation 1 games. Um, the tools we will be using to make the games are very old, so we are going to use a virtual machine to run Windows XP. So we're basically running Windows XP inside our computer. If you're not familiar with how to set up that, I have another video of that. There's a link in the description for it. So if you don't have an idea of how to do it, go follow that. So now I assume that you have set up your box, your virtual box, and have a virtual machine called Windows XP with Windows XP in it. You can also set the PlayStation development up for Windows 10, but you'll have to go through a lot of workaround, and generally I will say that it's much easier to just use Windows XP. So that's what we're going to do. Okay, so you need a few things to get started. I will link them all in the description. And you'll need to download them first. So see you here when you've done that, and we'll move on. Alright, welcome back again. Now we have downloaded everything that we need, we can get started with making our program. Our program will be a simple program. It just displays the text "Hello World" on the screen, and it will run in our PlayStation emulator. So let's first set up our PlayStation emulator. That is the PSXE, and this is where you will be testing your games. So you extract it here, and you'll get this. You want to run the PSXE here. Alright, so you want to configure it, you go to the wizard guide here and go to the config. The first thing that we will be prompted about is that you're not able to find a BIOS in your directory. So you will need to Google around to find either this file or this file. Since this is only legal if you have an actual PlayStation, I'm not allowed to give you this link. So I guess you'll have to Google around to find it. I'll put a Google link in the description that points to somewhere where you can find it. Or you can also dump it from your own PlayStation, but that requires a cable and some software you can dump it with. But it's pretty easy if you have that cable and you have a PlayStation. So I'll get back when I have that file. Alright, so I have now downloaded the script here. I have an original PlayStation, so I'm allowed to do so. Put it in your BIOS folder, in PSXE, delete the erase.me, and simply just drag it in. There we go. And you're ready to use the emulator. Just go and run it again. Run the wizard. And you'll see this time it will not complain. You select the BIOS, you select the default, you select the core, you want this one. Here you can set up the controllers if you want any mappings, but in case we don't want, we can just continue, and we're good to go. When we want to run our game, we go to File, Run PSXE, but more on that later. Let's actually make our program. So, we have downloaded the PlayStation SDK, or the PSYQE SDK here. We want to put that in the root of our hard drive, because that is the common place it's used. So to avoid errors from external third-party programs and from the SDK itself, it's recommended to put it there. You can also put it other places, but I would definitely recommend it to put it there, since a lot of software assumes that it is there. And we're also going to set up some environment variables through the registry file later, and it also assumes that it's there. So just put it there, it's much easier for everything. And we're good to go. Now you have the PlayStation SDK installed, we can create a projects folder. So projects. So we want to make a Hello World program which just displays Hello World on the screen. So in that case we would call our project Hello World. But the thing is that we're working in the 90s, so we're actually only allowed to have 8 characters in our file name. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Can max do this. Hello world. I'll just call it hworld. Then that's fine. Okay, so we're in here and we want to create our program. We want to make 2 files here, a main file, main, and a make file, .mak. Now, you might wonder, why are they still text files? Well, that's because by default, Windows XP does not display the file extensions, so we cannot change it by default. But if you go to Tools and Folder Options, go to View and uncheck this Hide extension for known file types, you'll be able to see the entire file name. So we want this to be a C file, and we want this to be an MAK file. Alright, so let's go ahead and fill in these files. In this tutorial or in this episode, you will not be talking about how the code is made. We'll just be finding some sample from the internet and make it run here. So I'll go on the internet. I'll go to psxdev.net because that is an awesome site with lots of resources on PlayStation development. They have a really good forum, so go there if you're interested. They have a lot of examples and sample content. So I will also link this in the description so you don't have to go through this. But they have a pretty similar tutorial to what I'm doing right here now. So if you prefer a text tutorial, you can also actually go there and read it. They have the files we're going to use. Here you will see where is it? Here. The main .c code can be found here. So I will just save this on my desktop, and you'll also need to download the make file code. So I'll download that. Actually just copy it and paste it into this. And for the C file, I'll just drag it in and replace it. There we go. Now we are ready to compile our program. To do that, we will need the cmd program, the commando prompt. You can go to run and type cmd, it will pop up. So right now we're at the folder called with us, and we want to go to the folder here. So to do that, you copy this and you say cd, that means change directory, and you paste this. Why can't I paste it? Okay, I'll do it the weird way. And we're into the project folder. So right here, all you have to do is to type make. Then we'll compile your game. But the thing is that we don't have the compiler set up yet. We need to tell the command prompt that it can actually use make. That is why this registry file is here. So if you go ahead and run that, select yes, and do it again. It's still not recognized because we need to restart our machine. So I'll go ahead and restart the machine and get back to you when it's there. Just the virtual machine in case you wondered. And we're good to go. Let's go ahead and go to cmd and change the directory to our hworld and do make. There you see. Oh, and we get another error here. What can be the cause of that? Well, I think back then when this was made, Windows was used to have a temp folder in the root folder. But Windows XP does not have that. I think it's because they usually use an earlier version of Windows when they made this. So all you have to do is to make a temp folder here in the root and run the same thing again. You can navigate in the history by pressing up and down in this commando prompt. It will make you able to see your old commands. So if you run make now, you see it made a file. So if you go into SciQ, projects, hworld, you'll see that a lot of things would actually have been made, which is good. So what we want to do now is to make it to an executable file so we can test it in our emulator. And we'll do that through a command which I can't really remember. So I'll go find it and then I'll get back to you. Alright, so I just had a quick look on psxdev.net, so I realized that what we have to do is to run cpe2x on the main.cpe. You see that in our HRoll folder it generated a CPE file, and we now need to run cpe2x on that. So we say cpe2x on the main.cpe. What you'll see there is that it makes an exe file. So if we go to our emulator here and run PSXE, go to our PSXE file here, folder, projects, where's project? This is not the SciQ. We need to go to the SciQ folder here. Go to projects, hworld, and run main.exe. And what you'll see here is hello world, psxdev.net. I used the code from there, so I assume they need the credit. Always goes there if you're in doubt about anything. I hope you enjoyed the video. We'll get more into how to actually code this thing later on. I hope this was not confusing, because it is confusing and there is a lot of stuff to do, because we're not used to programming in the 90s, but this is actually what we're doing in this case. So I hope you enjoyed. Like the video, subscribe if you want to follow along. There'll be much more PlayStation 1 content, so follow along if you want that. And see you in the next episode.